I made that beat, man. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's going on, y'all? Y'all see who I got with me? The one and only Greenthumbprepper in the house. What's up, man?
What's going on, buddy?
Same old, same old. You know how it is. Hey, thanks for joining me tonight, man. I appreciate you being here, brother.
Thanks for having me on.
Oh,
Friday
of course.
night.
Hell yeah, man. I've been wanting to do this.
It's a good way to spend a Friday night.
Hell yeah. So what's been good with you, man? Working hard on the gardening and stuff, or y'all still kind of slow with it because of y'all still got some cold stuff going on up there, don't you?
Yeah, man. I had 2 feet of snow on my lawn up until about 3 days ago. Then we had highs of 12, 13 degrees, and it melted almost all of it up real fast, which is real nice because the farmers' fields right now, if you go out into the country, it's just lakes everywhere. Where there was snow, it's just pure water.
Wow.
Yeah, and if the farmers don't get that drained off soon enough, it's going to mess their whole planting crop up. We've been having hard crop springs here. Corn's not going in the ground early. Soy's not going in the ground. Some fields aren't getting planted at all just because the water's not gone till like mid-June. Yeah, it's not.
Damn, and you got to think with all the stuff that's going on with food all around the world. Like now, even the little small parts that get hit like that, it makes a big difference because every little bit counts right now, you know?
That's right. It all adds up metric ton wise, right? When it gets dumped onto the open market and put on container ships, it doesn't matter if it came from your field or my field or cousin Bob's field 50 miles away. It all ends up in the same bottom of the same ship because it all goes through the same processing centers.
Right, right.
With what's happening with soy right now, there's, countries that don't buy soy from other countries are buying soy from those countries. There's massive rice shortages around the world. Dude, it's getting crazy. We'll see.
Yeah, you keeping up on all that, or on all the stuff that's going on with the shortages and all that kind of stuff? Sounds like you know a lot more than I do.
I try to keep my thumb on it, but there's so much going on, and you could literally spend all day just watching figures or, letting other people are doing the research and you can kind of culminate what other people have found and put together. But, watching Ice Age Farmer, for anybody who watches Ice Age Farmer, if you just want the best information, just go to his channel. Just watch what he puts out. And, the amount of contacts that guy has and the information that he just gets fed information constantly, So, and then, if he wasn't doing the kind of work that he was doing, we wouldn't have a lot of that information that he's trying to spread out there, connecting the dots for everybody,
Right. Maybe Nisi can find a link and throw his link in the chat, babe. Oh, Mikey FC, man. Thank you so much. Really appreciate the super chat, man. Thank you so much. Mikey FC, you're awesome, man. But yeah, we're going to try to get that link to Ice Age Farmer. A lot of people mention him about having all the good info. I've been sitting back. Oh, check that out. Yeah, that's an awesome symbol right there, man. If that ain't perfect for you, congrats on the 100 subs, baby. That's pretty cool, man. Who made that, man?
The girlfriend made it for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's super sweet, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, she's cool beans.
Yeah. We ordered some mugs from people's
I don't have merch yet. No, I don't have merch yet.
No merch yet?
Not yet. No, but I'm working on a couple of things actually. I'm going to be selling charcuterie boards that I'm going to hand make out of honey locust.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's gorgeous. The center of it is kind of like a maroon color, and the outside is white when you polish it and sand it. And I'm going to dish the center with a palm sander. They're going to be live edge. I'm going to seal them with beeswax, and you can serve your sausages and crackers and stuff on them. I'm going to be doing all kinds of stuff like that.
Oh man, that's awesome. You gonna do some videos on you making them and stuff?
That's right. Yeah. And like I plant my garden in square foot garden, right? So I plant everything in a 12 by 12 section, and I have a rig that I made, and it's all color coded with all the different seed spacing for all the different things that I'm planting. Because everything, when you're planting it like that, that high intensity method, you really need to pre-design how you're going to plant that space. So I'm going to be making those boards too, probably out of something like white birch,
Oh, really?
and they're all going to be painted around each color. So it's all going to be color matched. If you're doing like the 6 pattern or the 4 pattern or like the carrot pattern, which is every 2 inches, yeah, going to be making those. We're thinking of doing like an Etsy shop or an Amazon store, something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah, that man. When you do it, let me know, man. You know, I'll let everybody know all the time.
Right on. That'd be great. Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing you gotta do is hit me up, man. You know how to get in touch with me. Hit me up and say it's there and this is it, man. I'll be linking the hell out of it, man.
Well, I'll send you one for free then. Push my channel, and we'll just be like, little from you, little from me.
Now,
I'm not adverse for spreading a little off the top. That's how the world works.
but I'd rather support, brother. I'd rather support. We'll just buy one, man. Let me be the first one to buy one.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
guess the first free one's going out to Tommy.
Maybe you could do like a giveaway with one or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
On your channel or something. You know?
Yeah, handmade, signed on the bottom.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
Just the thumb.
Yeah. That's a cool symbol though, man. How perfect is that? That green thumb with the leaves coming out of it, man. That's just like super cool.
Yeah, we're trying to have one designed, so it's gonna be the same sort of thing, but the fist is gonna be more like a Hulk fist, because it's gonna symbolize sort of power. That was just kind of green and not much detail, but I want one that's like, and then with the little flower sticking out the top, little leaf thing growing at the top. So
That's cool, man. That's super cool. Yeah, we're getting ready to start tomorrow morning. We're getting up early, and we're gonna ride over to Lowe's, and we're gonna pick up a bunch of bags of soil. I have a hard time growing stuff here. I tried it last summer, and man, I think I got 2 tomato plants to finally come up. I live right on a cliff, right on the Chesapeake Bay,
right.
and it's nothing but clay and sand. And there's also, we have a real bad bug problem that's eating away at all the grounds around where in my neighborhood. It's a huge neighborhood. It's got like 10,000 people in it.
Okay.
But the bugs are eating away at the land real bad, and it's killing a lot of the trees. Like you'll see a lot of trees come down. We've had like at least 4 or 5 trees fall down, and we've only been here a year. It's pretty bad. But what I'm gonna try to do, I'm gonna try to build up the ground with some soil. You know what I mean? I might even have to get a truckload to come in, like a little half a truckload or something. I don't know, but we're gonna give it a Plus, I'm gonna grow like my peppers and stuff in like buckets and in containers and stuff.
Yeah. Well, you've got a couple of options, right? You can't really break up clay by adding anything other to it than organic matter. If you put, sand or perlite or whatever, that sort of stuff into clay, just due to the clay has a special chemical bonds that hold it together. That's why it's always like peanut butter, right? It's smooth. So the only way you can really break that up is by adding organic matter to it. And by adding organic matter, that the breakdown of the organic matter, that's what helps break down those chemical bonds with your clay. So you could take your garden section, till it, and then mix a shit ton of compost into it, which is straight up organic matter, and then
Right.
fill that back in again and grow in that. And while you're growing it, all of your roots they're going to be punching holes through all the dirt, and they're going to blend the whole thing up. And if you and at the end of the season, put all kinds of organic matter back in, all the trimmings from your garden, leaves, all that, just smash it with organic matter material, and you'll break that clay up. It may take a season or 2, but it's doable. But you got to get that organic matter into there.
Right.
Or you could build raised beds.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I might have to raise them up, but I don't know how far I can raise them. It takes money too, man, and nobody's rich these days. You know what I mean?
You want to know what I did? I went to Home Depot, and I got 3. Actually, I got 6 2 by 12-inch by 10 feet long. And I cut one of them in half, and I just made a box. So it's 5 feet across the ends and 10 feet along. And each box only takes 3 2x12s. And then you just put a couple of angle brackets in the corners, right, with big screws. And then you
Right.
can just fill that with your material, and you have raised beds ready to go. You could put those, dude, you work with tools all the time. You could literally, with a saw and your screw gun, you could have that thing built in 5 minutes flat, like no joke. And then fill that with soil, and you have raised beds. I did 2 of those in my
How
yard, and they've lasted me 7 years. And they
how
just got
high
opened last year.
how high does it have to be raised? Because
Uh,
I see other channels and they got it raised 2, 3 foot, 4 foot. Can you just raise it like 6 to 9 inches or something, or a foot? And
Yeah, the reason a lot of people put those beds higher than like that is because it's easier for them to work on.
oh, okay,
They're not bending over like this picking their garden, right? They can
right.
just like literally just walk up to their garden and just harvest out of it. Yeah.
Oh, so it doesn't have to be that deep.
No, it doesn't have to be that deep. No. No, because what
Wow.
you could do is you could take that, you don't even have to till up the soil underneath there. You could just put that raised bed smack dab on the ground, fill that thing with like triple mix soil and plant right into that. And every year just keep working that and building your own soil. And eventually the clay underneath it will start to break down because all the organic material is going to leach down in the water, right? And just
Right.
pull the humic acid and all the rest of that stuff right into that clay.
Wow.
As long as that clay doesn't kind of act like a hard pan. I've had lots of situations where the clay is so thick and smooth, water doesn't go through it.
Right.
It hits it just like a brick wall, right? The water comes down, it's like, nope, can't go this way, and runs off. So
Yeah.
depending on like how thick your clay is and if it's really that hard, if it is,
It's not
put some
that bad.
material in it.
Yeah, it's not that bad. But there's a lot of sand too. But I'm not sure if sand's good or bad. Sand might actually be a good thing at the bottom.
Cool. Yeah, well, I don't know. It's clay's a bastard to work with, right? Another thing you could do if you wanted to make a higher pile for your back, if you don't want to bend over so far, you could do like a Hugo culture mound, which is you just pile a bunch of broken ass logs and green or brown sticks and hay and straw, and you just top that whole thing with soil and then plant right into that, and then that thing will just kind of shrink down into a berm, and you could just plant in that thing for years because all the wood that rots down just feeds the pile with all the nutrients it needs.
Wow, man.
That's a super easy way to do it. You literally take a brush pile, cover it in soil, and stick your seeds in it.
All around my property is just tons and tons of leaves. I
Yep.
mean, there's nobody has raked it for probably 20 years right next to me. So there's
Right.
just,
Yeah, it's the big
smack.
like spongy layer when you're walking.
Yeah, and it can be, when it gets like 100 degrees outside, if you just rake the top layer, it's all wet and moist underneath. And
Right. And you
so
and
that's,
you see all that white fibrousy looking stuff in there
yeah,
when you flip that over. If you get some of that and you till those leaves into your garden, you're doing good for your garden. That you want that mycelium to spread out in your garden. So
oh,
yeah, it's leaf mold, right? That's nature literally doing its thing. So if you
right,
if you take that stuff and you compost that down, or you till that into your garden soil, or what you could do is you could take all those leaves because they're that thick, go out there, collect them, and till that stuff right into the clay in your ground.
wow,
That's a free resource for you right there. You could, in an afternoon with a rototiller, right? You with a rototiller and a rake and a couple of shovels or wheelbarrows or however you want to move that stuff. You could till your whole garden, fill that thing chock full of leaves, and definitely start the composting process of, breaking up that clay you have.
that's interesting, man. That's interesting. I was thinking that. I was like, I know these leaves would come in handy.
Sure. Yeah.
But I also worry about those bugs, the bugs that I'm telling you about that are just like running rampant throughout this whole land in here. I can't remember the name of the bugs. I'm going to figure out the name of them bugs and I'm going to shoot it to you. I'll shoot it in an email or something. That way you might even know what their purpose is or something. I don't know, maybe. But I did want to run something by you.
Yeah.
I used to rent a trailer from this guy. He was like 82 years old, and I actually helped him redo the inside of his house, right?
Okay.
And we tore down all his old drywall. Well, he took that drywall, put it in a wood chipper, and broke it all up, and he put it all throughout his garden. And I'm telling you, that year his garden, he had turnips, and turnips can be bitter and spicy.
Yeah.
Man, they were like apples. They were juicy. They had a sweetness to them. They still had that turnip taste, but they were sweet. I was eating them raw with nothing on them, just slicing them and eating them. That's how good. And they were this big around, man.
Okay.
They were huge. I mean,
Yeah.
beautiful. They were just like a nice big apple, man. They were great. But have you ever heard of that before? Somebody putting drywall in their garden?
It's probably because by whatever the compound is in the drywall, it's probably altering the pH, making it more alkaline. So some plants really thrive in different pH volumes, right? Like I was talking to CJ about the blueberries they were thinking about getting, and I was saying, they wanted to put them in a 20-gallon container, and I was saying you can definitely do that, but you got to make sure that the pH is right for that environment. And certain things are picky, so maybe those turnips really wanted like a definitely like a different pH in the soil, and whatever was in the drywall, they I don't think they use the same stuff now as they used to back when we were kids.
Yeah, this drywall was old. Like this house, it didn't even have insulation in the walls. That's why we tore it down and redid it because he
Right.
had no and all the wood in this house came off of that land. Like they actually, cleared the
Or-
trees and then used the trees to build the house.
That's what
It
we're
was
thinking.
old school.
Yeah, yeah, we're thinking about when we get our spot. We're going to be getting a sawmill, and we're going to be harvesting lumber off of our land. We're going to be doing selective logging. We're going to be working on predator management as well as wildfire management. We're going to be thinning the brush out, and in the process of that, the nice thing about that is you harvest your own wood. It costs you your time and some fuel and some blood, sweat, and definitely some tears by the time you're done.
Yeah.
But you're not paying, like at the beginning of 2019, a 2x4 here that was 8 feet long, spruce, just your generic 2x4, was
Right.
$3 and change. Okay, it's over $8 now.
Jeez, it's
Dude,
tripled.
yeah,
Gee.
insane. Yeah. So
Why
like
for
my
it?
landlord is renovating this house, and he told me that in the last year, the renovation cost alone on this place has gone up $80,000.
What?
Yeah.
And why? Do you have any idea why? Has anybody told you why would wood go up like that?
Lumber shortages. We built a deck. We've got a cottage, and a huge chunk of ice fell off the roof because we put a steel roof on last year. And the huge chunk of ice fell off and took one of our deck posts out, which pulled the whole side of the whole deck off. So we took it
Oh,
down and we rebuilt it this year. They sold us all of the 4x4 posts, all of the 2x6s, all of the decking, the whole thing. They sold it all to us. And the 2x4s they sold us probably weighed about 3 times what a normal 2x4 was because they were so soaking wet. It's like, oh
wow.
yeah, they're kiln drined, which means I think they just kind of like drove by in the kiln place in the truck, like, yeah, see you later, bye.
Right.
Yeah, and everything now on the deck is starting to twist and crack and pop. And
Oh man.
this is everywhere. If you go to your Home Depot and go and look at the wood, chances are it's probably not what it's supposed to be. It's probably not at the moisture content it's supposed to be. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, it,
We're gonna check it out tomorrow morning, man. I'm going to Lowe's. I'm gonna check on it. I'm gonna check on the wood prices, see what's going on. I haven't bought wood in a while, but man, it's insane.
yeah,
And,
but
and
you know what I mean? For that garden, 3 2x12s that are 10 feet long gives you 50 square feet of gardening space.
that's more than enough for me.
That's
Like I'm talking about what we're planning is probably about 8 feet by about, I would say like 8 feet by 8 feet. Maybe a little bit smaller. It might be like 7 foot by 8 feet, and we're going to try to grow some stuff. But I'm also going to do containers, and like in that 8 feet by 8 feet, I'm gonna try to have like cantaloupe, couple watermelon, tomato plants. But I'm also going to do tomato plants and all my peppers and all that. I'm gonna do all that in containers and buckets and stuff.
How do you plan on getting to your tomato plants once your cantaloupes and watermelons get really big?
Well, it's the way you walk into
You're
it.
just gonna hover, right? You're just gonna be like,
Yeah. I did a container garden. It filled up my entire yard. I got pictures of it. I gotta download the pictures to my computer because you would be amazed, man. I had like 75 buckets and containers growing.
nice.
It was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I had them everywhere. My whole yard, it was like a maze going through. But I try to place stuff, like I try to place the watermelons and cantaloupes and strawberries and stuff in places where you don't really have to walk by to get to something else. You know what I mean?
That's a good way to do it. Yeah, you don't want to be stepping on the vines and you trip, you like crunch, you're like,
Oh man. Yeah, and I've done it. Yeah, I've done it. I've had cucumbers growing and stepped on 3 or 4 really nice cucumbers growing and step on the branch and smash it. I'm like, oh no.
there they go. Better
Yeah,
bring them in because they're gonna be dead in a couple days.
yeah. We
Uh,
also had to deal with deer eating our stuff up, man. I mean, devouring. Just
yeah,
we had this one deer. We called her Lolly, and she would come up and eat out of my hand. But I had to put the fence around part of my garden, and we had a bunch of stuff growing up on the patio, so nothing would really come up the patio and get it. It was way up in the air. But the stuff that we had on the ground, I put this fence around it. Well, one day, Lolly, she's reaching over the fence on the other side of me. Like I'm on this side of the fence, she's on the other side, and she's reaching over trying to reach to my tomato plants. So I walk right up, and she's almost like a pet.
yeah, right.
So I said, Lolly,
Dude, no, you can't. No, dude,
yeah, I'm like,
tomato plant.
right, like that's mine. That's mine. I'll give you some later, but don't. It's green right now. You can't have. Man, this deer looked at me and she went. Like she was frustrated. And then she went to do it again. And I was like, Lolly, come on, stop. And she stopped. And she would just shake her head at me. I'm like, man, what the hell? I mean,
My plant, not your plant.
yeah. She finally walked away, but she had a little attitude on her, man. If you get close to wild animals, man, they end up thinking that they are just as good as you, which they are. But they get comfortable, man, and they'll give you attitude and shit, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I had 3 big raccoons living under my deck this summertime, and yeah, they just refused to leave.
Yeah. Raccoons are brave.
They are. And one night I walked outside, and there was a trash panda right outside my back patio door as I was stepping outside the back door. A huge one, like 30 pounds.
Whoa.
It was just like, oh crap! Back in the
Yeah.
house, or it's a little
Yeah.
different when your shoelaces are tied up and you're, ready to go after a coon or something like that. But when you pretty much step on it, you're just like, retreat slowly into the house and close the door.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Man, you wouldn't believe me, but we had this, when I lived in my trailer, we had a skunk. And man, I come out the door and you're not paying attention, you don't think you. So I walk out the door and I walk down. It was like a little 3 steps to come out of my trailer, and boom, it was concrete. And I stepped down and, I stop, I grab a cigarette. I forget what I was doing. I think I was just going outside to smoke a cigarette or something. But I lit up a cigarette, man, and I looked down and he's like, his hair is almost touching my leg. And he's just looking up at me and doing his thing and looking back up to make sure I'm not going to get him. I was like, holy man. But to be honest, man, I didn't even get scared. Like, he didn't spray me. He didn't act crazy or nothing. It was just like, okay, I'm used to you. You're used to me. Let me do my thing. You do yours.
Yeah, you're not bugging me, right? No,
Right.
I'm not bugging you. I'm going that way. Quick.
Yeah. And he did his little business and then went on about his business, and he never bothered me. I stayed out there smoking my cigarette because I was like, at this point, there's no sense in running. He's right there. You know what I mean? Yep. I love animals though, man. I'm like a huge animal lover.
Yeah, me too. Yep.
But we got a bunch of deer here too. Cause where I was living, where they ate up all my plants, that wasn't here. But here, man, they come right up in the yard, up in the front yard, and there'd be whole families of them and stuff. So I'm definitely gonna have to put up a fence. And last year, I went out there and I planted a bunch of seeds right into the ground,
Okay.
and I used topsoil and stuff. But I went out there the next day, and something had dug up. It looked like they dug up all the seeds and ate the damn seeds.
Yep. That happens in my yard too, man. When I plant my beans, I literally just take my finger and I scratch a big trench in my soil, and then I just grab a handful of beans and I just walk down the trench and drop the beans in the soil, cover it over. The next day I go out and there's a trench excavated through my garden. All the fucking beans are gone, right? Put more bean seeds in, pack it down, come back, trench dug up. So now when I plant beans, sometimes I'll lay burlap down on top of it, or chicken wire is really good. And because I grow in square, in 12-inch increments, I can just take 2-foot strands of chicken wire and just run it down and cover whole sections of gardens. And then
Okay.
the squirrels can't get into it as easily. It's warfare, man. It's me versus
Yeah.
them. They're hungry and I'm hungry and I'm bigger.
Yeah. Yep. And the sad thing about it is I feed these animals like crazy. Like I buy big bags of peanuts for the squirrels. I feed all the birds and everything like that, and they still want to rob me, man. You know what I mean?
Of course, they're greedy. They're animals. They
Yeah.
you're a resource to them, and as long as you keep, putting out that resource, they're going to be your best friend until the day you stop putting out that resource. Then they're going to go right back to chewing to get into your attic.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, indeed. Little bastards.
Yep. Yeah, man.
But it's cool, man. It's all part of the game, man. It makes it fun. I mean, you get frustrated if something gets taken out, but
And then if you live in the middle of the city, you're lucky if you see a squirrel.
yeah.
And so sometimes when you're in the environment where nature is, you kind of take advantage of the fact that nature is just kind of always around, and sometimes they're rather annoying and sometimes they piss you off because they get into your stuff or ruin your stuff, or take one of your chickens, and you're like, but
Yep.
the way I kind of look at it, if we're all sharing space out in the bush, like outside of the city, out into the country area, if
Right.
we're all sharing space with the animals, I don't really have a problem with them, and I don't mind sharing much, but don't be greedy, because if you become a problem, then the problem gets addressed, and I'm not going
Yeah.
to lose. At the end of the day, I'm going to win. However that ends up playing out, the
Yep.
problem will be resolved.
Right, because we got to feed ourselves too.
Yeah,
You
and
know.
that's the thing. What they can come in. Let's say you have a dozen tomato plants, and that's going to be your spaghetti sauce canning tomatoes for the whole season. You planted the paste tomatoes specifically for that, and deer come in and wipe them out in one night. A herd of deer. You're like, well, now I'm not making tomato sauce. Like,
Yeah.
where does that put you? Right now, you're trying to find one from a farmer's market, or that sort of thing. That's what happened to
Yeah.
me last year. I lost a bunch of tomatoes due to the heat and watering that was happening, and I wasn't able to make sauce last year. That was the plan. I was going to make salsa and sauce and chili, and I made 8 small pint jars of salsa, and that's all I got out of the tomatoes. I mean,
Wow.
besides them on my burgers and sandwiches and a couple of salads, but like the great big huge crop I was expecting. But it got hot here last summer, like record breaking hot here.
Really?
Yeah, it just beat the snot out of my tomatoes, because once they get too hot, the pollen just goes sterile, and so they won't make any more tomatoes.
Well, it's probably the certain kind of tomatoes too, because here I can grow tomatoes. It could be 100 degrees outside. It just turns the skins kind of hard. Like you don't want to eat the skins because the skins get real tough.
Okay.
Something like that. I mean, I'm not no pro, man, but I've grown tomatoes, a ton of times every year. But when you get less water, less rain, should I say, less rain and more heat,
Yeah.
that the outer shell is like tough.
Probably, Partly, yeah, due to not as much moisture in the tomato, and it's secondarily it's probably something along the lines of like a genetic trait, so it helps it protect itself from getting burnt by the sun, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So you do canning and all that then. So you grow your food and then you can can it?
Yeah, I've been water bath canning for 10 years on and off. Some years I don't do anything. Some years I do, like the other couple of years ago I did lacto fermented dill pickles, which is not using vinegar, and they turned out atrocious,
Oh,
disgusting.
really?
But everybody else I've talked to, they're nice and crisp, and they taste delicious. Mine were just like you could grab the dill pickle and just that sucker. Yeah, it was gross.
Terrible.
Yeah. So, and I got a pressure canner. About 8 months ago, I got a pressure canner, and I tried to pressure can some stuff, and that was a massive disaster. I screwed up, and well, at least I didn't screw up in a bad enough way that nothing got hurt. But yeah, I made a judgment call on something, and I had to shut the whole batch down, and that was the last time. But I'm looking forward to moving forward with doing a whole bunch of pressure canning. I want to get a whole bunch of proteins done, like sausages and ground beef and chickens, and get all that kind of stuff. Get cans of chili big enough that you can decide whether am I going to do 50 jars today in the canner of single person or single portion chilies, or quart jars to feed a family, or do some of one and some of the other, and then just start stockpiling that, because at the cost of making that food versus having to worry about the cost of, like, what did I tell you in that text message today about the cost of green peppers?
Yeah.
It's $3.99 for one green pepper at my grocery store. Hey buddy, I love you too.
It's always $1 a piece around here. I mean, we got a bunch of green peppers. We probably got like we keep like 30 of them in the freezer, and we chop them up, and we either dice them or we do long strands, and we bag them up and throw them in the freezer, and we just keep, because we cook with them a lot. So we haven't had to buy any here lately, but they were always $1 a piece. You said $3.99. I told Nisi that, and she was like, "What?
Yeah,
That's insane."
Yeah, and I mean, those peppers are coming from Mexico or Guam or Florida or something. $3.99 for one stupid green pepper, and I was making tacos, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm not. I refuse to spend that price. And think about it. For $2, you can buy a pack of seeds for $2 for green peppers. That's going to come with 25 or 50 seeds in it, and grow 25 or 50 plants that are going to give you, 500 peppers off of it by the end of the season.
Yeah.
For $2 and the cost of some soil.
And that's one of the easiest things I've ever grown, was like green peppers, jalapeno peppers. It was like maintenance free. Give them some water and they do their thing.
Yeah, they're simple. As long as they have a fairly nice stem structure on them and they're not breaking off or anything like that. Yeah, they're great. Yeah, you give them some water and you just pick them. They'll pollinate, and you just pick right off them as you go. You don't have to tie them up. Sometimes you don't have to stake them. Sometimes, but
I didn't have to, man. They grew great, and it was in a container too. And it wasn't even a big container. Now my green peppers didn't get full size green peppers.
Okay.
But I mean, they were like medium sized green peppers. They were still great, tasted great.
Yep. And as long as it's producing enough out of your garden that you don't have to go to the store for any of your needs, that's all that matters. So by the time that you've eaten all of the peppers that you want by the end of the season, and you've processed as many freezer bags as you want, or made spaghetti sauce, or however you want to work that out, by the end of the season, if all of your pepper needs are squared away, except for eating fresh peppers over the wintertime, right, unfrozen, I call that a win for sure.
Oh yeah. I also do that with my crab soup. We eat crabs a lot during the summer, but it comes a time when you can't get crabs no more. So I make a lot of crab soup.
Thing, like a legal thing, or just a season changing thing?
Well, crab. I guess it's both. There is a season, but also crabs burrow down into the mud, and then they hibernate type thing. So during the winter, you can't catch crabs anyway.
Okay.
They're hiding.
Do you
They get
get snow
nice and
there?
full and fat in like August, September, and then they don't come back out. I mean, we start buying crabs around here like at the earliest probably early April.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you get snow at all in your winter there?
Yeah, we do, but we haven't had much. Last year, I think we only got like 6 inches one time, and then we got maybe 2 or 3 inches two other times. And this year, we hardly got anything. We had ice. We had a bunch of ice cover the trees like 3 different times. But other than that, man, we didn't really get no snow. It's changed, man.
Yeah. The weather patterns are absolutely changing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
Yep.
For everybody who's out of the city or even people in the city with space, get a greenhouse, get your greenhouse up and running, even if you have to grow in pots in a greenhouse. Work on ways of extending your season, you know, because with this um, weather changing patterns right now, we're losing in our spring, we're losing time in the fall. So if you have a greenhouse up, you're extending your season. You put that thing outside, and it's going to be nice and warm in there. When you still need a sweater outside, it'll be t-shirt warm in that greenhouse. Put your
Right.
seedlings in there, and start planning to put food away and bank food and bank seeds.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I
This year,
I I, I know a guy that he grew tomatoes year round here, and what he had is he had greenhouses set up, and they were long. I guess they were like tent dome type situations, but they were greenhouses.
yep,
And what he had was a bunch of wood stoves in there. Every however many. He probably had three greenhouses, and he probably had two wood stoves in each one. These were huge greenhouses, though,
yep,
and he would just keep the wood stoves going all winter long, and he'd be growing these
yep,
beautiful tomatoes, man.
yep. Feed them wood, and that's at least if you got lots of land and you can chop down wood and feed them into your wood stoves like that as a free resource as opposed to running propane. Because with all of these people that are running propane, and I've heard of there's propane shortages. So what about if you have a whole huge crop of something expensive that's about to get picked, and you run out of propane and you can't get any, and you have a storm coming towards your greenhouse? You're like, I I'm about to go bankrupt here. I'm about to lose everything.
Yeah, that's how this dude made a living too, because he was like I don't know, working on 80 years old. He was in his 70s, but so if he would have lost his crop, he would have been screwed. Like he
That's it. Yep.
he's working on a fixed income as it is, and this is like his side money. He would sell his tomatoes to like the college and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Side hustle. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
For
Faithful
some
faithful
people, they
prepper.
need that to get by, right? You got to have a
Yeah.
side hustle.
Yeah.
The money isn't out there for people anymore, and the cost of purchasing everything across the board is up. When's the last time you went to a store and you looked at something? You're like, yeah, okay, I can relate to the value of that for the cost of that. Not anymore. You know,
Nope.
no.
And nothing else neither, like
99
TV,
cent green.
phone. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
But like you were saying about the cost of stuff in stores, but it's the same thing. Like here, it's rent. I mean, I'm paying $1,800 for a 3 bedroom house. You pay $100 and some dollars for every cell phone you got. Like what happened to the cell phones where you pay $50 for the first one and $10 each additional one? Like now they done made all these smartphones, and you got to pay $400 phone bill every month for cell service. That's more than what we used to pay when we had to call long distance.
That's right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
done figured it out, man. They figured it out.
Yeah, and now the way that they put these plans together, you either get the complete absolute garbage plan or the, executive presidential plan. And no, 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 I want something in the middle. Oh, so we
It's all a
you
hustle.
want that? You know,
It's all
yeah,
a hustle.
it is. It is.
Yeah.
And it's all about extracting the most amount of cash out of us as, the civilian, and just stripping us of more and more cash. My cell phone bill is $150 $4 a month, and I only have 5 gigs of data on my phone.
That's crazy, man. It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody. I don't think there's a phone bill out there that's cheaper than that, unless you get like one of those prepaid phones or something. I don't even know. Do they even have those anymore? I don't. Faithful Prepper wanted me to ask you something though. She said, "What's the easiest thing to start growing? If you could pick something like for the person who's never grown before, what's the easiest thing to start growing to get your confidence up and stuff?"
The easiest thing to grow.
My easiest thing was cucumbers and peppers.
Yeah, cucumbers are easy. Peppers are easy. Bush tomatoes, like determinate variety tomatoes, they will literally just do their own thing. If you stick a tomato cage in the center and your little plant in the center and just let it grow right up the center of your tomato cage, you can't go wrong. And in the middle of the summertime, you'll just have that whole thing loaded up with tomatoes. You could do a couple of those and a jalapeno pepper plant and a
Yeah,
green
yeah.
pepper plant and some cilantro and throw some onions in the ground, and you've got salsa going on right there. Right?
Sweet.
Go to the store, pick up a couple of limes, squeeze that in. Right? You can jar
Right.
that up. You can water bath can that, and now you've got salsa, and put that away in your pantry. Lots of people do that. They just grow a salsa garden, and you just grow the ingredients specifically for your salsa, and just tuck it off to the side. It's a good way to do things.
Right. Right. Another thing I had real good luck with was carrots. And I had them in a big old tub. And I just put a ton of seeds in there. Because I didn't really know what I was doing when I was planting carrots. I just got some dirt. I threw seeds everywhere. And all of a sudden, I had this big bush of green stuff coming up. I would just go in there and I'd pull like 2 or 3 of them out at a time. And I mean, they lasted me all summer. Like once they got to where you could eat them, mine didn't go bad or anything. Like I could just go at any time and pick a couple carrots and it'd be good to go.
Yeah, carrots are really hard to germinate because the seeds are so small and they're really fragile. And like if you plant them out in a garden, if you let that soil dry after you planted your carrots, and if they've started to germinate at all and that little root gets all fried on it, right? Because it baked in the sunshine, because yesterday was 20 and today turned out to be 35 and you weren't ready and that thing just got baked, your seeds are done.
Wow.
So I lay my seeds down, and then I plant 16 carrots per square foot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 2 inches apart, and it grows up just like this great big jungle. And
Yeah.
I don't thin it because I don't normally have to, because like I told you, I use that jig, right? So my carrot holes are all painted orange, and I just have carrot seeds in my hand, and I just individually just drop the carrots down the hole in the jig, right? And before I put the carrots down, I've got a little stick that I just poke into the holes for the ones I want to plant, and it's measured out, so I poke it a 1/4 inch into the ground. So when I drop the carrot seed in, they're all a 1/4 inch into the soil, and then I just lift the board up and slosh my hand over the top of it, and then I just put 16 carrots in 1 foot, and I just move the board over.
Wow. See, I must have got lucky because I'm telling you, I just dumped seeds all over this whole big tub, and I mean, it's like every seed came up. I had a huge bush,
Nice.
but you would just pick through and just grab carrots out that joint, man. It was lovely, and I had potatoes, I had onions, so
yeah,
I didn't hear you.
The bigger they get, right? Because they just that way
Yeah.
they have all room to expand.
Yep, they started getting bigger. The more I picked and ate them, the next time they would, seem to be getting fuller.
Yeah, you don't want to grow your tomatoes like one on top of the other. That's how you end up seeing those tomatoes, and they're all like twisted around each other and all screwed up. Yeah, just you can plant tons of tomatoes. Like I said, 16 carrots in a square foot, but they have lots of room to move around. But if I put 2 holes down each one of those things, then there's no way most of those carrots would probably end up, this big, because it happens. I had some last year. I didn't thin them because I got over busy on certain parts of the garden, and they came up and they're pretty much the right size where you can break the top off, give them a little rinse in the water, and throw a couple on the side of your plate.
Right, right. Yeah, I think the ones that I was growing were actually the smaller kind of carrots anyway. Like,
Okay.
and with me bunching them all up. But I tell you what though, man, I was proud of my carrots. Now I was like, yeah, I did the damn thing with these carrots.
They're sweet, eh? Pull them out of the ground, give them a quick rinse off,
Yes,
and just like ah. Yep.
yes, it's
Those
totally different than if you buy it at the store, man. It's
Oh yeah, those things. When you go to the store, next time you go to the store and you eat one of those carrots after eating one of your own, you're like, "What the hell is this?" It's dry. It's not half as sweet. It's kind of
nope,
woody tasting, but sort of.
bland.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And then you're like, "Why am I doing this? I need to grow more carrots." I store mine in my freezer. I grow. Last year I put like 1,500 carrot seeds in, but my carrot harvest was not very good due to several reasons. But normally, what I'll do is you pull the carrots out of the ground in the fall, you just bang the dirt off the carrots, break the top of the green off, and stuff them in full size Ziploc bags, and throw a damp paper towel in that Ziploc bag and zip it up till you have about an inch left open just into the bag, and
Right.
throw them in the crisper in the bottom of your fridge. And I have been eating in previous years carrots in June that I picked in October,
Wow.
and they're fresh. You can just grab them and snap them right in half.
That's kind of what we did. Nisi did. We got a bunch of carrots in from I forget how we got them. Friend, family, or something. We got a box of carrots in. It was a bunch of carrots, and what she did is she put them in water and stuck them in the fridge. She did some research, and she's like, "These carrots will be good next summer." And I'm like, "Really?" She's like, "Yep."
So
So it's
did
pretty cool.
cold stratification or something? Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly how she did. I just know we got some containers in the refrigerator right now, and it's got a bunch of carrots and some water in there. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because some seeds need to be cold stratified. So that I've actually this not so over last winter time I had orange plums or yeah, I had peaches and orange plums, like local orange plums, and I wanted to grow them, so I threw them in soil, put them in. It was in like a classical spaghetti sauce jar, soil in there with the seeds in there. Threw them in the bottom of my fridge, dampened it a little bit, and left them there. And I planted them outside last springtime, but they didn't grow.
Really?
But you take your chances, right? I mean,
Yeah.
who knows what kind of a source these fruit came from? Are they GMO? You never know. Have they been bred to the point where they won't reproduce a seed because these farmers or the seed producers don't want you to be able to harvest the fruit out of these, because all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff's happening, right? So
Oh man, I never thought about that. They would modify them like that, huh?
they can, yeah, they can do
That's
all kinds of
crazy.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. That's wild, man. We got a ton of seeds. Nisi got on there. What's them seeds that you got, babe? The ones. Hand them to me real quick. I want to show them real quick. On them seeds that you ordered.
Oh, that I ordered
Yeah, the ones that you ordered that were like in the.
these.
Yeah, she got these from Mountain Valley Seed Company.
Okay.
I'll
Right
show you
on.
the package.
Yeah.
But she did some research, and there was a lot of good thoughts on it. But she ordered a bunch, man. We're gonna
Right. You're gonna
we're
have
gonna
a
do it up.
So when are you starting your seeds?
We should have already done some of them. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we planned on doing it this week, and then a bunch of stuff happened, and you get busy and stuff. So tomorrow we're going out, and we're gonna start doing everything. So we're starting tomorrow. And I gotta do some research though, man, because I know some things you want to start right now or 2 weeks ago, but you
Yeah.
want to start it right now, and then some things you want to wait. I think it's
I
like
don't know
end of
how you
March.
work it down there. How we work it here is we count down or we count backwards from our last average frost date. So do you have an average frost date? Do you even get frost down there? Like I
Yeah,
know you
we
get to snow a little bit, but is that like midwinter and then by the spring like nothing or what?
no. I'm in Maryland, so we get all 4 seasons. So we do like it'll be the first freeze of the year or first frost of the year, and it'll 32 degrees. You'll have the little bit of ice on the grass or whatever. So you do get that first day of frost. and stuff like that. But we get all 4 seasons, and it used to be like spot on. But here lately, man, I mean,
It's
just
all
about
over
two.
the map. Yeah,
Yeah, 2 summers ago, it was the middle of June, and I was wearing a hoodie outside because it was chilly that day, and it never been like that.
it's true, man. The
Yeah,
weather's all over the map.
it is.
But what you can do is you can just literally go to Google and Google the last average frost date for your area, right? And then count backwards to when you should be starting certain plants, and that's what everybody should do, unless you live in a tropical climate, because that doesn't apply to you. But like for someone like me, my last average frost date is usually mid-May, and there's very, very few things I'll put out in the ground before mid-May, except for things like maybe spinach or kale, maybe some broccoli, because they're cold hardy. But other than that, I wouldn't put cucumbers or melons or peppers or tomatoes, nothing like that, for fear of them just getting wiped out.
Right,
So
right.
so on your seed packets, right? It'll tell you if you look at your seed pack, pick one up.
I got you.
It'll tell you your days to germination, right?
It says 70 to 79 days, 500 milligrams, and then SKU something.
So 79
Yeah.
days. So 79 days is when it's going to start producing your fruit for you.
Oh, okay. So yeah, it does have a lot of writing on it, and it does tell you everything like you're telling me.
It's good. That will tell you everything you need to know. So,
Oh yeah,
and it
germinates
also,
in 7 to 21 days. Transplanting strongest starts 12, 16 inches apart. Yeah, it tells you everything. Yep.
right. So, and so if you just follow it there, and it'll certain things, like for example, here's how I'll do it. I will plant my peppers earlier. So normally I would be starting my peppers probably in the next week or two, figuring I'm planting out mid-May, right? So peppers you can do early because they take a long time to get big and they take a long time to ripen, especially the hotter peppers. And then I was going to do onions today, but and I was going to do onions yesterday, but some things came up. So
I actually got a question for you about onions.
yeah, right on. Yeah, you want to throw it out?
Yeah, Karen Thomas asked opinion on seed tape.
For onions?
Oh shit! I thought it said onion and it says opinion. I'm sorry, brother.
There's nothing wrong with seed tape. I use seed tape for carrots. I bought seed tape. I planted lots of seed tape. You ever seen it?
Nah, I don't know what it is.
It just picture like a little tiny roll of toilet paper about this big. Okay.
Right.
And as you would unroll the toilet paper, it would just have seeds stuck to it.
Oh, really?
So to plant it, it's the simplest thing ever. It's just you make a little trench in the ground, you unroll your little seed tape, toilet paper roll. Sorry about that. My alarm feature in my greenhouse was on. So yeah, all you do is you literally just trench it, right? Unroll your toilet paper roll of seed, put your soil back over top of it, water, planting, done.
And it's all spaced out where they're supposed to be and all that?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can. Can everybody hear him in the chat? I can hear you perfect, though. I can see you, too.
I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me at all? Oh, shit. Can you hear me?
Mic, camera, chat, leave.
I don't know. I think it might be on your end, brother.
Why did we just lose all the audio?
I can definitely hear you, though.
You can hear me?
Yeah. Perfect.
I can't hear you at all.
Oh, shit. You want to go out and try to come back in? You want to go out and come back in? All right, we're having a little technical stuff. Hopefully he can get back in here. Don't mean to be ignoring the chat. Just, I'm learning, you know? Green Thumb Prepper, he know what he talking about. Have you been putting the link in the chat so everybody can Have you been putting the link in the chat so everybody can see his page and go over there and check him out? I was trying to get to y'all's questions. You know what I'm saying? So much information. Hard to get it all in. All right, let's see if it... Can you hear me now?
Yeah, buddy, I got you.
All right, cool. Sweet.
That was strange.
Yeah, I
Technology.
wonder what happened.
I don't know. Fucking technology. You know what it was? I'm telling you, it was Skynet.
Oh no, now it's attacking me.
What?
Now it took me out. Why don't I have a picture?
Hutch, don't look out your window, buddy. If you see red lights on your chest, duck.
Oh, jeez. We're being attacked, Sean. We're being attacked.
Duck. Get to the bunker. I mean, the paint room in the basement.
Right? No doubt.
I won't tell anybody about your bunker. Don't worry about Hutch.
I swear. Don't tell nobody. Don't even tell the wife.
Yeah.
That's my secret hideout from the wife, man.
Oh, wife? I ain't telling the wife.
One more question though, man, because I've been sitting on it for a while, so I'm gonna hit you with it. Kim Bissett asked, "What's the best containers for potatoes? I guess for growing potatoes, if you was gonna do it in a container."
I'm gonna be honest, guys. I grew potatoes for the first time last summertime. So I'm actually going to be live on Grimm's channel this coming Thursday, 8 p.m. And we're doing potatoes in containers. Like I'm researching it right now. So
Oh, cool.
I can't honestly provide a lot of information because I've only planted potatoes in my garden, and so I've never done them in 5-gallon buckets. My personal favorite container to grow in are fabric pots. By far, night and day better than a plastic pot. It's not even in the same category.
Really?
Yeah. And you can pick up 20-gallon smart pots for like, $9, $10. They're cheap. And you can use them year after year. You wash them out in the fall, spray them down with the hose. I recommend everybody grows in smart pots. Grow your veggies in smart pots. Grow your flowers in smart pots. You can get smart pots that are like 200-gallon if you want to. You can turn your whole, if you wanted to, right? You could literally turn your raised bed and grow it in a smart pot instead of using 2x4s and stuff.
Are they expensive?
I don't know what a 200-gallon would cost you, but you can certainly get the lumber cheaper.
Right.
And the lumber will last much longer than a couple of years in a fabric pot, because you wouldn't be able to empty a 200-gallon fabric pot, right? You could empty a 20-gallon. I empty my 25-gallon smart pots every fall. Just beat the snot out of the sides and dump it in a big tote and mix it all up and get ready to use it the following year. And I just clean my smart pots out. I also use 65-gallon smart pots, and I make my own soil blend for what I grow in there.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Hey, you said you're going on. Do you know the exact time and day you're going on Grimm's? Because I do that morning show, man, and I can keep reminding people.
Yeah, it's going to be 8 o'clock on the 18th.
18th.
Next Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Yeah.
18th at 8 o'clock. You said
at 8, and we're doing potatoes in buckets. That's why Grimm's like, I want to learn how to do potatoes in buckets. So come on my show and we're going to talk about potatoes in buckets.
Man, that's awesome, man. I'll shout it out all next week. I'll at least do it, at least 2 times during the week, but I'll definitely shout it out Thursday morning.
Right on.
To remind people so they can go over there and check it out, man.
Yeah, and like shit is crazy out there right now. And if you can't put in a garden, but you're looking for a long-term food storage item that you can stockpile away, you can literally grow buckets of potatoes and buckets of carrots, and they'll store all winter long. And you could just line your backyard like you did, right? When you had 75 of them or whatever you had, you could do that with potatoes and all of your veggies, guys. Just because if you can't put holes in the ground to put your food in the ground to grow it out of there, don't let that stop you. There's a million other ways to do things. People are planting stuff in eaves trough. They're building racks of long eaves trough, and they're growing all the stuff in that. They're building racks out of 2x4s that hold different stage levels of 5-gallon buckets, and they're growing in there using gravity-fed water systems. There's millions and millions of ways of growing food that you will be able to find a way. Like, unless you're growing on a north-facing balcony, that gets zero sunshine. Other than that, you can find ways of growing food on your land, especially long-term storage stuff. Like potatoes are easy. Carrots are simple if you can get them to germinate.
Right. We used to grow right on our like windowsill type. We would grow lettuce.
Yep.
And you could just pluck it off and make your salad. Like we had 4 or 5 of them growing, and boom, they get
growing in my greenhouse right now.
Yeah, and it keeps producing as long as it don't flower. I think it is as long as you don't let it get that flower.
Yeah. Lettuce is a cut and come again plant. So I grew 3 kinds of lettuce in the greenhouse this year. I did a romaine lettuce, I did a leaf lettuce, and I'm doing a head lettuce right now. And yeah, what you can do is you can let that head of lettuce grow, and you can chop it straight off with a sharp knife a couple inches above the ground, and it'll grow back out of the center again, right? Or what I like to do is I just continually pick the bottom lowest leaves off of it.
That's what we do, and we would even pick it just if we had hamburgers that night, we would pick enough lettuce off to put on tomatoes and lettuce on your hamburgers and stuff or on a sandwich or.
Like out in my garden, the closest garden bed to my back door, because I've got 10 gardens around the property, but the one closest to my back door where I can walk straight out to, and that's where I plant my lettuce, because I walk right out to that when I'm making sandwiches for my lunch, right? I'm making 2 or 3 deli meat sandwiches, walk right out there, pick a couple of heads or a couple of leaves of lettuce, back in the house, wash it off in the sink on my sandwich. That lettuce doesn't even know it's off the plant yet before it's in a Ziploc bag in the fridge in my lunch pail.
Right. No doubt. Yes, indeed. You know, another thing that we have good luck. My uncle grows it, and he grows a bunch of it. And I was getting kale. We had fresh kale out of the garden on Christmas Day. A matter of fact, right. I think wasn't it Christmas Day, babe? When we had that kale, didn't we have it for Christmas?
Oh yeah.
I mean, I went over there 2 days before Christmas and picked 2 big bags of it. Right. I mean, kale just keeps on getting it too.
And it gets sweeter when it gets colder. Because the plant starts turning the sugars into like a sugar alcohol, so it can move around in the plant. And that's why, all kinds of spinach gets good when it gets cold. Carrots get sweeter when they get cold. Kale's the same sort of thing. Yeah, some of those things, it's all right for them to get a little chilly like that. And then you get other plants, it gets a whiff of cold air on it. It's like, yeah, screw this.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, I'm not even fighting you. I'm just going to be like,
Yeah, my tomato plants will shut down on you quick.
Yep.
You'll think these green tomatoes are going to turn red, and you're going to get a couple more at the end, and nope.
Yep, nope. Frost comes and wipes them out. So normally what I do is when the weather drastically starts to change in the fall, and I can see like we're not going back up in temperatures, we're on that decline. That's when I'll start to plan what I have left in the garden and how I'm going to process what's left in the garden. Because starting about beginning of August, my dehydrator is running almost nonstop in my kitchen.
Really?
I dehydrate all kinds of stuff that I garden. I grow stuff in the garden just to run through the dehydrator.
That's cool.
Stuff that I plan to purposefully stuff in full-size Ziploc bags and stuff in the deep freezer, like parsley. I grow like sinkfuls of parsley every year, and I keep some for me, give some to friends and family. It's all organic. There's zero chemicals, zero toxic sludge that ever ends up in my garden. My garden's about as organic as it's going to get.
Well, I tell you what, I got 2 dehydrators. They're, the round ones, and they have levels to it.
Yep, me too.
They're like plastic, it seems like. But I haven't seen any videos where they from beginning to end. Like I've seen people do videos and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to dehydrate this," and it takes about 12 hours. But they don't.
Yep.
They don't. I'm sure there are some out there, and I just haven't seen it. But I'm the type of person that needs to see the full. I want to know how you wash them. How do you set it up to put them in there? Exactly how many do you put in there and why? What kind of heat is going on here? Why does it work the way it does? Like I would love to have a detailed video of dehydrating, or even a few of them.
I'll see if I can throw one up soon. I'll go. I'll see if I can find a nice couple of ripe pineapples or something, and I'll do dehydrated pineapples in the dehydrator.
Man, that would
You
be
ever had
awesome,
dehydrated
man.
pineapple?
I've never seen it. No, that would be awesome. I love pineapple, man.
Yeah, dehydrated pineapple. It gets chewy, almost like beef jerky, and super sweet concentrated pineapple flavor.
Oh
But
man.
they're like candy. I make them 2 or 3 pineapples at a time, and they go in big jars, and they're so good that you can't like take the jar out of the cupboard and walk away with it. You have to get a little bowl and take some out of the jar and put it in the bowl and lock it up and put that bastard back in the cupboard and walk away, because if not,
Because you
that
eat
jar
the whole
one
damn thing.
one shot, that whole jar's gone. I promise.
Yeah. That would be awesome, man. I would love to see that. I would do that in a heart, man. I'm a huge pineapple fan. I get the cans, the cans where
Right?
the slices and the chunks,
Yep.
and I'll eat a whole can, like that. I mean,
Good.
10
Yep.
minutes, it's
And
gone.
it's good for you. There's chemicals and vitamins and stuff in pineapple that aren't in other things. I can't
Yeah.
remember the name of it, but it's got some strange name. But pineapple is kind of one of those standalone sort of super
And
healthy things.
it also helps you digest food because, like, if you eat a big meal, this is what I was told. If you eat a big meal and then you eat a little bit of pineapple afterwards, an hour later you won't even feel that fullness. You know how if you eat a Thanksgiving dinner and you get that, oh, I'm too full.
Yep.
What I was told, if you eat a little bit of
My brother says
pineapple,
that shit's about to blow up.
yes. But if you eat a little bit of pineapple, it helps you digest the food, and you'll actually be hungry again in like 2 hours or something. They said.
So you can go back for thirds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Don't even put it away. It won't have a chance to get cold. After I come back in 2 hours from now, I'll just pack it all up for the night.
Yes,
Don't
indeed.
worry about it. No.
Yes, indeed. No doubt. You're gonna be on Hutch's show Sunday?
You bet your ass I am.
Hell yeah! So
11.
anybody that's watching, you're gonna have the Green Thumb Prepper over there on Hutch Homestead's live on Sunday too. He's doing a live at 10:30 Central. Are you doing the early show or the late show?
I'm on 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. 10:15
Yeah.
p.m. So lunchtime.
Okay, cool. So yeah, because it's an hour before. He's earlier, so 10:30 Central Time is my 11:30 Central Time, or my 9:30 Central. I don't know. I got to figure it out, but
Good job.
but
Good job.
but you got it. You know he'll be on the Hut show. Everybody will be over there checking it out. And
Yeah, it's Hutch's Hot Dogs.
this I think this came from Did this come from you, Nisi? Did this come from you?
Microgreens?
She wants to know if you're microgreens.
I have grown microgreens. They're super simple to do. To do it on a sustainable level, you have to find a supplier where you can buy large volumes, right?
Really?
Because if you're gonna do like a little tiny, 10-inch by 10-inch tray of it, you're probably gonna throw, 200 seeds in there. So if you're buying them in like the seed packets that you have in your hand there that you showed me, you're gonna get 2 trays, and your seed packet's empty. Yeah,
Right.
or 4 sandwiches out of it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you don't get a lot per small area, but there is people out there that literally have just taken one room in their house and they're growing microgreens, and these people are making like $30K a month.
Really?
Microgreens. Start to finish on a lot of microgreens is 7 to 10 days from start to finish.
What?
Dude. So they just have like aluminum racks that you get at Walmart or Costco, and LED lights or fluorescent lights or whatever they're using, and you grow microgreens in in little trays about this deep that are, 12 inches wide and 24 inches long. And you just fill that with your growing medium like peat. And microgreens don't need any fertilization because they're getting all their energy from the seed. And you literally just lace these trays that are full of soil with your seed, press it down, and then they stack them up like pancakes for a couple of days while they're germinating. And then as soon as they germinate, they lay them out on these trays under the lights, about 7 to 10 days in total. And they come by and they have this machine to trim them. It's powered by a drill, and the drill spins a blade and it shoots the microgreens into like a vinyl bag behind it. And you just walk it right across the top of your crops. Yeah,
Really?
and the thing spins and it shoots them in the bag, cuts them off nice and clean, doesn't get any dirt in it. And they just go through a wash station and they just get sold, dried out and bagged. Yeah, and sold.
Wow.
Huge money in micro. Imagine that, having one room in your house making you 30 grand a month.
Oh man, that would be insane.
That's a good tenant. Yeah, absolutely. What's that?
You can't do that with wacky tobacco.
Nope. And this
You
stuff
know?
is literally ready 7 to 10 days. Microgreens. You can do all
Yeah.
kinds of things, from sunflower seeds and broccolis and mustards, and you can even do little cilantro, all that sort of stuff. And the microgreens are great because they're a nutritional powerhouse, because all of that huge hormonal energy that's coming right out of the seed, because you're growing it before they grow their first set of seeds, or their first set of true leaves, right?
Right.
You're usually harvesting your microgreens when it's just the cotyledon. That's when you grow a plant, tomato, whatever it is, you always have those first two leaves that pop up,
Yeah.
right? That's called your cotyledons, and they usually die off as your plant grows and stuff. But
Right.
that's the plant shooting its leaves up, right? And it's like its first solar panels, right?
Right.
And that's how it literally gets life, by throwing out those fast blooming solar panels to start the photosynthesis process, to start those things growing. And then you'll have your first set of true leaves usually grow right up in the center of those two cotyledons. It'll grow right up through there,
Yeah.
right? And then once
And they end up shriveling up and
yeah. So with microgreens, you're chopping them down usually before those true leaves come out.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Niecy over there concentrating on the computer, like, okay. She over there thinking 30 grand now, man. You done messed up. You done turned her into a monster. I can see her eyes right now. She thinking big
"Now, you have a
dollars.
room that's full of buckets, and I can take those buckets and toss them out."
Yeah.
He's about to have a heart attack on the street.
Yes.
Oh, my buckets! I love you. I swear.
And shoot him. The money from it is probably going to shoot up just like anything else. The dude that was making 30 grand, he's probably making 60 now.
Well, and the thing is he's got to pay for his peat or his pro mix or whatever he's using as a growing medium. So if the cost of his growing medium goes up 25% and the cost of his seeds goes up 25%, now his profit margin is just decreased by a large portion. So his prices got to go up, which means the supermarket's got to go up. But at what point do people say, I'm not paying $9 for a little bag of microgreens?
Yeah, very true.
Right?
Very true.
Because I can order a kilo from Johnny's Seeds for $20, and I'm going to grow my own damn microgreens in my own.
Yeah, in 10 days. Yep.
Because you can get, and they don't even really need a whole lot of light, right? Because you can, you put your lights on top, but you can go to Costco, Walmart, get those little tiny LED kitchen grow light setups. And you could, if you wanted to, if you can go out and buy a bag of Pro Mix HP in the big white bale, right? You can grow in that bale. Last time I bought one, I think was $36, and it's huge. It expands crazy. And you can get a couple of these little tiny trays and a crappy little Walmart light, and you can just grow microgreens in your kitchen and just have one tray at 4 days old and one tray at 8 days old, and then you start a brand new tray and you just cycle them through. If you eat a lot of sandwiches and stuff like I do, you literally, and you wouldn't need big trays. You could do them in 6 by 8 inch little like yogurt tray cups, or you can get creative as long as you can get 3 of them under a little light like that.
Yeah, where's that little tray at, babe, of your microgreens? I'll show you the package. She was talking to her cousin. She's got a long lost cousin that she, ended up getting in touch with, and she was talking about wanting to grow microgreens.
Right.
So her cousin actually sent her this. I'll show it to you. It's pretty neat, but
down in Louisiana.
it's probably what you're talking about. It's just a little.
It's a starter kit.
Microgreens grow kit. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, a little starter kit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's neat. That'll be a little experiment. So if you get that going, and then you just keep, if you get yourself a bale of some sort of growing medium, it doesn't have to have nutrients in it. It just has to maintain water and, be able to wick water away and maintain a decent moisture level, because microgreens have a tendency to rot. Because
Oh, really?
you plant them so thick, right? And you're
Right.
literally just trying to smash them with the light and get them going, and then you're harvesting them. So it's a quick turnaround. But so if you had a big bale of a growing medium and a big bag of seeds from a seed distribution center, you could, in a little thing like that, just keep your microgreens growing. Sure, why not?
Yeah, she's gonna do it. She's really interested in it. She's scared to death of growing though. Like I'm not. I've been growing for years. I've been helping my uncles plant their gardens. They do big old gardens, and that's how I learned how to, cut the potatoes in half and plant them, and all the different stuff. And then I helped my landlord for years do his garden because he was older, so he couldn't do a lot of the work. So I had to learn how to do it for him and stuff. But yeah, man, it's real interesting. And then when you're growing your own stuff, it's just like as if you had like a pet. You fall in love with your pet, man. When I grow my stuff, you get attached to it. Like you want to go out there and spend time with it. Like I would put when I had my bucket garden, even though it was a shit ton, and I would mix up the Miracle Grow and put it in spray bottles, and I would go to every single plant and spray it on the leaves on every single plant. It would take me like 2 hours,
Give it
and I
some
would
love. Yep.
yeah, and I would do it like once every 2 weeks. We'll hook them up, man. But the more love you give your plants, the more you care about them, the more
absolutely
the better they'll be.
And once you have, if you deal with your weed issue, I recommend people put down wood chips on their pathways in their gardens. Mix that stuff in your garden. I don't have anything. I don't have issues with the Back to Eden gardening method with incorporating all that in. I don't put wood chips where I'm growing. I use straw to put down to cover the roots and the bases of my plants. But if you get your garden going to the point where you can spend more time on your plants and less time maintaining your garden space per se, right? That's when you start to notice pest issues. As soon as pest issues pop up, you'll see them, right? If you have some mold coming through, you'll find it because you're not on your hands and knees cursing the ground because you're pulling freaking dandelions out again.
Right.
So if you grow pretty tightly like I do, doing the square foot gardening method, once the canopy for my plants really establishes and it's flowered out a little bit, I have almost zero weed pressure in my garden.
Yeah, because the sun don't. Because it's about the sun getting to the bottom, and if the sun's not getting to the bottom, it's not gonna.
It won't allow the other stuff to grow as well.
Right.
Plus, I have 3 or 4 inches of straw covering the soil, so any
nice
weed seeds that get caught up and floating around and land there have a very little chance of actually contacting the soil as well, right?
Oh, so yeah.
Keep your ground covered. Don't leave your soil exposed to the sun, guys, in your gardens. If you can cover that up, there's a dozen reasons why you want to keep your soil covered. Everything from, the healthy soil life that's in your soil does not like sunshine. I'm telling you right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when the top layer of the sun is baking that top, when you can go to your garden and it's crispy on the top?
Yeah.
Everything in that top layer has been fried by the sun.
Oh, okay.
So if you keep your soil covered, the bacterial life and the microbe life that's in your soil is much happier. You'll keep your roots cooler, right? Cooler roots on plants are way happier roots.
Yep.
The moisture level in your soil, it's not going to fluctuate, right? Because the top of your soil isn't getting baked by the sun just cooking the snot out of it all day, especially like, when it's the middle of July and it's 35 degrees Celsius and everything is just hot to the touch. Well, the soil is like that too.
Yeah.
So if you can stop the soil from having that happening, then that's beneficial for everything to do with your soil.
Yeah, because you can stick your finger, like, sometimes you'll stick your finger in to see how wet it is or whatever, but you can feel the heat. I mean, it's damn hot in there sometimes
That's
in the
right.
summertime. I mean, I remember sticking my finger in there like, damn, these things are getting burnt up.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's the other reason is, sometimes it's it's almost better off not to water your garden when it is that hot out, because when you pour water on the top of that soil, the first thing that water is going to penetrate through that super hot layer, and it's going to superheat that water, and then that water is going to bubble right onto the tender roots that are below the soil there and start baking those things. So you're better off to keep your soil cooler so you don't have that sort of situation.
That's a really good point that everybody should know, that people really don't think about. I haven't heard nobody mention that. Like, it's very, I mean, most people know it that have grown stuff, but you never water your plants in the middle of the day when the sun's beaming out. You either do it first thing in the morning when the sun is barely coming up, and it'll give it time for that water to seep down in. And
Yeah.
but I would always water my plant. The only time I would do it in the morning is if I forgot to do it that night, and I'd be like, oh shit, I gotta wake up, I gotta run out here and water my plants before the heat comes up. But I would always do it at night when the sun went down.
I'm a nighttime waterer.
Yeah.
Definitely pros and cons to each, and there's people out there that are going to contradict me, and that's okay. We can debate this all night long. I still love you guys. You guys do your thing. I'm a nighttime waterer.
Yep.
It fits in my schedule. It takes me sometimes, like, no joke, I'm outside. Just the watering process in my 10 gardens takes me 2 hours.
Yeah.
I have 4 50-feet length of soaker hoses. I have 2 garden hoses. I have 3 rain barrels, and I have gardens all around my whole property. So I run two water hoses out to 2 soaker hoses. I run those for half hour, 45 minutes. Then I turn the valves off. I switch hoses onto other soaker hoses. I run those. When those are done, I'm hooking that up to maybe a sprinkler to water something over here. Although I normally don't like sprinklers, but it works. I used to use it for my onion and my potato patch because it was against the side of my house, so I could just have the sprinkler do one of these sort of actions, and just
Right.
smash that one spot, because you don't want to water your whole garden. You water your plants, because if you water your whole garden, one, you're wasting a shit ton of water that's not doing a damn thing for you, and two, you don't want to water weed seeds that are trying to grow. If you restrict the water to those weed seeds and they can't get it, then your weed pressure will be drastically minimized. Like when
Okay.
we set up our permanent spot, right? Because we're starting our adventure here in about a month. When we get to our permanent spot, we're going to go full on drip irrigation. Everything is going to be measured out, and the drip irrigation is literally going to have a hole on the drip line right beside each plant. So each plant gets watered. I'm not watering pathways. I'm not watering part of my lawn with a stupid ass sprinkler. Lots of people like aerial irrigation, where you have one of those 4-foot poles that stand up and it,
Yeah. Yep.
that really works for some people's applications. If you're out in the country and you have a 100-foot by 300-foot garden, which some people have, or massive blocks of garden for their home property, sometimes you just can't run that on soaker hoses without establishing infrastructure. At that point, you're running you're running hundreds of feet of line, and you need to have a large volume of water to pump all through that. Sometimes it's easier to have just one of those rotational things, especially if you're doing like leafy greens in the summer, when those leafy greens are hot and getting baked. That's why sometimes you'll see those things on. They're just trying to cool their plants down. They're not really trying to water them too much. They're just trying to cool them down. And those systems work. I'm the kind of person where I've seen so many good systems being applied. Like I'm trying to get into a permaculture design course. So I can be a certified permaculture design course graduate, and I can,
That's
do that
awesome.
sort of stuff for other people. So I'm all about using the land that you have to be the most productive for you. So if you have a system that works kick ass for you and it's polar opposite to me, but it works for you, I'm absolutely all for that. Even if I think in my application, I'm like that, there's no way that would work. Screw that. I couldn't do that.
Right.
If that's putting food on your table and that is working for your situation, have at it, and don't let anybody tell you it's stupid. You know why? Because if it's stupid and it works, it works.
Right.
You know?
Right. No doubt. Plus,
Yeah.
plus, the more you do it, the more advanced you're going to get. And you're going to have people that won't even have a system. They're going to have a watering jug, and they're going to have, 10, maybe 12 plants, and they're going to really be wanting to do it up.
Yeah.
So they're not going to have all these systems in place and stuff. And like, they're going to come outside, and it's going to be 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and the sun's going to be beaming down, and they're going to look at their plants, and their leaves are going to look all withered. And they're going to think, oh my God, my plants are dying. No, that's what they do when the heat hits them. They kind of,
Yeah.
if you wait until they, and that's the first mistake you can make. You see the leaves withering a little bit. They look like they might be dying, and you're like, oh, I got to give them some water. No, don't give them no water. Just wait till the evening time. They'll bounce back, because as soon as that sun starts going down, them leaves start getting pretty again and getting bright, and in the morning they'll be all bright. There's just
like
little
solar
things.
panels, right? Yeah,
Huh?
those leaves are like big ass solar panels. And
Yeah.
when it gets too much, those solar panels are just like, yeah, we're taking a nap here. Like, we're getting
Yes, indeed.
fried.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yep.
But for the new growers, they wouldn't know that stuff. They'd be like, "Oh my God!" Plus another thing, when you're talking about watering plants, is what I've noticed is, like tomato plants, they just love water.
Yes.
I give them as much water as they want, man. Just water, water, water. But then there's other plants, there's other stuff that you grow that don't need all that water. So you got to know how to do that too.
Yeah, some plants don't like having really wet roots. The number one thing for tomatoes for watering is water them on a schedule. Because what happens? You guys ever see your tomatoes and the bottom splits open on your tomatoes?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
So tomatoes have a valve in them. So what happens is tomatoes are always thirsty, right? But
Yep.
if you water them on a routine, tomatoes just get used to that. So they know that they don't have to like stockpile water because they're getting watered every day or every day, every other day. However you have your schedule, as long as you're watering them appropriately, right? Like depending on the environment. So what happens sometimes is you'll get a huge storm and the tomatoes will suck up all kinds of water. Or if you don't water on a normal routine schedule and then you turn the hose on them for an hour and a half and you
Right.
look the next morning, right? Sometimes you'll notice that your tomatoes have cracked. It's because what happens is that tomato is like water and it sucks up all this water into the plant, but it's got that one-way valve, right? So the water's going up the stems, right? And what happens is that valve won't let it come back out again.
So they
So
just
the
get so
water-
full that splits it open.
That's right. It's getting pulled up that stem and then it's getting pushed out into the tomato, and the skin of that tomato can't sustain the stretching of the amount of water it's just filling up the cells of that tomato plant with water, and that's why your tomato plant split. So water on a regular basis, even if if you're worried about conserving water, I get it. A certain like if you're in California, I don't. Yeah, you guys have fun over there because we see every summertime people are turning on their taps in Cali and nothing's coming out the taps.
Yeah, dries up.
And they can't store their own water there. They can't take their own rainwater and harvest that.
Yep.
I don't understand that. That
And-
water
and-
comes out of the sky does not belong to the government. The rain.
And
that came
that's
out of
another
that
thing.
didn't come from the United States. I'm sure if
Yeah.
the Democrats could tax it, they would. But that's. So,
What I used to do as far as collecting rainwater, like people think, oh, you got to have this rainwater system. You got to have this rainwater system. Well, you don't have to. If there's places around your house, like let's say you got a shed out there and you've noticed that when it rains, a lot of water pours off of this certain spot.
That's right.
Put a couple buckets there. And then when it don't rain or you get a, you know, because sometimes they'll shut you down and tell you, oh, you can't use the water because we're having a water shortage
Yeah.
or whatever. Well, then you got that backup. You got those buckets filled up with water and you can just throw a top on them. Once the buckets fill up, throw a top on them and you won't have to worry about mosquitoes and stuff like that.
No, you
Then
don't.
boom, when you can't water your plants that day or something because you can't use your water, you just pop open a bucket and boom, water your plants.
Yeah. I have 2 rain barrels at the side of my house under my eaves trough, and I've got about a 5-foot piece of flexible eaves trough piping, you know, the plastic shit that's corrugated.
Right?
And so both of the rain barrels are up on cinder blocks. So what I do is I'll use one to water my plants with, right? And I'll deplete the water out of it while the other one's full and under the spout. And then when one gets close down, so I have to start like reaching down inside. I don't want to have to do that. Then
Right.
I just swap the flexible neck into the other tank, and then the next big rainstorm, that one fills up, and I just rotate back and forth. And one of them has a spout on the bottom, just like Papa Prepper put on his rain barrel in his video today. You
Yeah, I
guys
seen
gotta go
that.
check out Papa Prepper's video that he put out about cleaning up his chicken coop and build his rain barrels. And
Yeah,
Tommy
he put
got
that spout on the
monetized.
bottom. He cut the top with the saw. Yep, I seen that. I watched that whole video.
Yeah. Good work, Tommy. Papa Prepper. Good to see you, buddy. I'm glad to see you monetized. You know, Tommy's been a huge supporter, man. He's been pushing my channel since, you know, day one. So, you know, I'm glad to see him. He's moving his way up the ladder pretty quickly, so he deserves it.
Yeah,
He's putting hard work in.
super nice dude, man. And I accidentally went on top of him yesterday. I felt so bad, but I reached out to him this morning. You know, his video didn't pop up last night. Like I went immediately over there because I was going to leave him a message and, you know, apologize because, you know, I don't like stepping on people's, you know, toes when I go live.
Right.
And I just happened to pick that day because I thought nobody was going at 7 o'clock. For some reason, I thought he went at 8 o'clock on Thursdays. And I just swore that that's what time he went. But, you know, I messed up and I was like, shit, I didn't mean to do that to him. So I reached out to him, left him a little message like, hey, man, I apologize, man. You know, it was a one-time thing. I really didn't mean to do it. And he reached right back out to me. He was like, man, don't even worry about it, man. Shit happens.
Yeah. And
Really
you know,
cool dude.
That's the thing. There's so many guys out there, or guys and gals out there making content now, and so many people are going live. It's gonna happen. You're stepping on people's toes, and you know, as long as everybody's buddies here. So you know, if I threw up a live and I had no idea you were doing one, it's not malicious. It was never meant to step on anybody's toes. And a quick, you know, man, I'm sorry. Or at the same time, I knew some of your people weren't going to come to mine, and I know some of my people weren't going to. And we were talking about planting potatoes, and you guys were talking about drinking beer.
Right. I
So,
mean, we're going to run into each other, but
Yeah.
but just for the channels that, you know, like I know you go on this day at this time every week, but it's hard to keep up with them all. I even try to announce different people's lives in my morning shows, you know, to remind people, like if you go live on a Tuesday, I'll try to mention that you go live that Tuesday morning. That way people remember, oh yeah, boom. And anybody new that's watching, oh, well, I'm gonna have to check him out later.
That's true.
But
Yeah.
but
And you
it's
check me out all the time, man.
it's hard to keep up with them, man.
Right on.
I mean, even the channels that I follow die hard. There's so many lives going on that it gets mixed up in your head. Like, you know, say for instance, I always watch Native and Devout. Native and Devout, thank you, man. I appreciate the super chat, but I always watch Native and Devout. But I'll still, like in the morning on Mondays, I'll be like, I know Native and Devout go. What time does he go today, babe? And Nisi will have to tell me, so I'll write it down, even though I already know. And I'm there every single time. It just ain't in my mind right then. You know what I mean?
True. Yep. And
It gets difficult, man. But
and you have to start. And that's the thing. I mean, we all have channels that we prioritize watching. So you know, it's like these guys on this level, I watch every one of their shows, right? Thanks, Nation. What's this? Sorry, guys. I have to get close because I got new glasses, and there's some. I don't know if my eyes have done something with the prescription. I've never had to do this before. Normally, I could read shit on screen and get everything close up. With these new glasses, I think I got to go and have them retest my eyes or something because
I
Dude,
just went.
I'm not supposed to have to get this far from my phone to be able to read what's on my phone. I didn't have to do that a year ago.
Yeah,
But
me neither.
Nation,
Me neither. And
Nation,
this time when I went to the eye doctor, I had to get 2 sets of glasses. I had to get the set for reading and then the set for driving and distance and yeah. And I just wanted to let the chat know that I'm not throwing Native's comment up there because he gave me a super chat. You don't have to give me any super chats or nothing like that to get a comment up there. It's just I seen the super chat and then I realized he was saying something to you, so I threw it up there for him. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that. But super chat this man. Super chat that man right there. You know why? Because fishing season's coming up and he needs some tackle.
Fishing season's
Plus,
coming, baby.
There's going to be a sale on buckets coming up real soon, and he probably needs a few.
I don't know how busy you are tonight. I don't know if we got about like I usually end it in about 25 minutes. But if you got a couple minutes, man, and if anybody in the chat, if you don't mind, there might be a couple people who might want to jump on here and ask you a couple questions or something.
Yeah, we do need to finish up a little sooner than later. I didn't know it was actually going to run this long, and I have 2 young ones running around downstairs.
Okay.
Should have been in bed a little while ago.
That's cool, man. We can do it next time. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no big deal.
If we can run a few questions through quickly, I don't mind doing that at all. Let's get some people doing this.
All right, you want to throw the link in there, and maybe if somebody wants to jump on and ask them a question, we got about 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Somebody might just want to say hi, man, and meet you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, let's do it.
I meant to do it earlier, but we got to talking, and I'm sitting here learning, man. I just listen to you, man. I could listen to you for days. It's so great to have somebody that knows so much, and you can actually. It ain't just going and watching a video and walking away with a comment. It's like you can actually talk to someone who knows their shit, and it's so awesome. You know what I'm saying?
I spend a lot of time doing research on this sort of stuff. Like, my goal is to open up a market garden and a farm stand at the house and, sell all of my wares and everything I grow from my house. I'm going to turn my home into my income property. So learning about vegetables and animal husbandry, and I want to get into bees soon. And I work with my hands all the time. I've spent half of my adult life landscaping, so that fits in with my permaculture design stuff. I spent 3 years as a professional arborist climbing trees, so we're going to do the whole apple orchard and other fruit bearing trees in my orchard. We're going to be maybe I'm going to learn how to do grafting. We got all kinds of stuff. So my interest, and like I said, like in the whole prepper thing, my interests don't just lie in gardening and stuff. Like, I've been prepping for 12, 13, 14 years. So,
you gotta prep up there, up in that weather, man. I mean, you pretty much gotta prep to survive the winter every year.
Well,
thanks, Hutch. I just want to shout out Hutch real quick. Thanks for the super chat, brother. Big old fist bump, man. Thank you very much, brother.
But yeah, like for me, I would say my biggest thing I prep for in a material sense, not like the economic collapse or zombies or anything like that. The biggest thing that I need to worry about is an environmental issue.
Right.
Like if we get 50 centimeter, if we get 2 feet of snow here, right, that shuts everything down. We had the ice storm in '98, and dude, like, we had half an inch of ice on everything, and it sounded like people were shooting guns outside my house. Trees were splitting and cracking and like peeling up like bananas, all kinds of stuff. Hey, how's it going?
Heads or tails living. What's going on, brother? Nice to see you.
Happy Friday.
Nice to see you guys. Happy Friday to you guys too.
Everything going good?
It's always going better than what it was, Bo.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, do you know Heads or Tails living? Green Thumb?
I've seen him around in the chat slots. Yeah.
Yeah. Really cool dude. Really cool dude, man.
How you doing? Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, sir. Now I was going to ask you. Whatever.
No, you got it.
Yeah. What's
I was going to ask you. You were talking about market gardens and stuff like that. Have you ever actually? I was saying something to Nisi about checking out Curtis Stone, the urban farmer. Have you
Uh,
ever heard of him? Or
I've been watching Curtis on YouTube for years. Back when, when he was, before he'd really done a whole lot of stuff in his backyard, even before he put the solar panels on his roof. Um, that man has knowledge, serious knowledge, and not just about market gardening, right? Like, he's buddies with J.M. Fortier up here in Quebec. J.M. Fortier's farm is probably within about 4 hours of my current location. And those guys are like pioneers in market gardening. If you want to know how to set up a market garden, Curtis Stone, he has a book that he wrote, and it breaks it down page by page, step by step, plant by plant. Like, you buy the book, you do the things, and you're running your market garden. Like that
exactly.
man. Oh yeah. If you want like and you can even talk to him. You can orchestrate ways to talk to him. He's got, I don't know if there's membership sort of things, but there's ways to get in touch with him. And
Yeah, because he still
right
even
now,
does something every Thursday as well. He does his live every Thursday on YouTube as well. Still,
yeah, and up in his new place up in the mountains in BC. I'm excited to watch and see what he does up there, because he has the space now and he's got the topographical map of his whole property. I'm going to be blown away. The tribe, if you're not watching Curtis Stone, he's like
What's the name of the channel?
Ice Age farmer Curtis Stone.
Curtis Stone.
Yeah, he is like
the urban farmer.
the urban farmer. Yeah, he's like Ice Age farmer for market gardening. Yeah. So yeah,
Yeah, because he originally started out. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, he started out with a little rented plot next to a church or something, in a city somewhere, and yeah, he's up in Kelowna, BC.
Oh, really?
Yeah, up in the mountains. Yeah, yeah, and
That's awesome.
He does. I think one of his first biggest his videos. He does $125,000 a year on a quarter-acre backyard market garden.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's paying his mortgage with what he's growing in his backyard. But
Nice.
you have to be systematic, right? You have to do your succession planting before you put any seeds in the ground in May. Your whole entire summer planting schedule. It's already organized down to the date when you're harvesting, when it's getting to the market, when your seeds are coming in, what seeds from what distributor. Like, to run a serious market garden, you have to have that whole thing dialed in before you even start your season.
And that's what people got to realize is we say, oh, well, you can do a micro garden and make 30 grand. Well, you can make a market garden and make 125 grand. But no, it's not that easy. You have to work. It's a lot of work, and you got to be willing to do that work. A lot of it.
Yeah, you're talking like Excel spreadsheets, and you're talking, you have to have, if you're just having a market garden and you're just selling it at market gardens, you're going to sell X amount of dollars worth. But if you do market gardens and then talk to the small little tiny chefs in these little tiny deli restaurants and stuff like that, who will pay top dollar, like me and the girlfriend right now, we're talking about getting into quail and selling
Really?
eggs. Quail lays eggs at 6 weeks, man. They're putting eggs out. So, you take quail along with having a market garden, and now you can go to these small little organic eateries, and you can sell them quail eggs along with your super high-end select stuff. Like selling, a super easy way to make money is to put mushroom plugs in wood and sell. What am I growing?
Johnny Harper was doing that.
Yeah, I'm growing mushrooms out in my backyard in a log.
Did you see Johnny Harper Scouts Table when he was doing his mushrooms?
No, I didn't see them. No.
Yeah, he did a video, man, about he's like huge on mushrooms. Like he made me look at mushrooms in a whole different light. Yeah. He's got a video.
He has button mushrooms from your grocery store. There's a world of mushrooms out there. Yeah.
Yeah, they're considered like not a plant. They're considered like a life form like us. Yeah. He was breaking it down. He knows all about them. Like you know what I mean? It was a great video. You should check it out, man.
Okay. Yeah, I will for sure. I will.
I learned a lot.
Yeah, it's all.
I got I kind of lost a little bit of signal there a while ago, but I don't know if you said it or not. When we were talking about Curtis Stone there, he originally started out, he didn't even have any property. He was borrowing, he went out and told people in his area that was like, hey, let me come onto your property. I'll put a garden on,
Yeah,
give you like half of it, or I'll give you the whatever. He was more or less renting the land
that's
in
right.
people's front yards and backyards. And
Yeah,
the
and
That's
dude was,
awesome.
yeah,
I
Now,
mean,
see, that's getting it done. That's thinking outside the box. Like, look, I don't have no
right.
land, but this is what I can do to make something happen.
Yeah,
yep,
yeah. Like some of these places, yeah, he'd walk into their, he'd talk to people who knew people and stuff, and he's like, "I'll pay for the water bill, the increase, because you'll probably know your average household water use bill." And he's like, "I'll come in, I'll till your yard, I'll farm your yard, and I'll pay you X amount of dollars per month for it." So he's not paying insurance on the property. He's not paying for any of that, and he's reaping all of the profits, and the other people that own the land are still paying the property taxes. So Curtis, he's making hell of a good money. That's a good way to do it. And even if you said to the homeowners, right, you could just say, literally help yourself to anything in the backyard. If you want to make 100 jars of salsa, have at her. Raid the garden,
Right.
help yourself. As a market garden, you're not going to really lose out if you're talking the little bit that they're really going to take to do the salsa. What do you care?
Right.
You're growing in
Right.
such large volume anyway. So if they take 20 carrots, who cares? It's 20 carrots.
That's how my landlord was.
Yeah.
He always let me. Yeah, well, I mean, I helped him with his garden and stuff, but that was kind of like, payment in a way. It's like, look, you can have anything in this garden anytime you want, and I never made a dent in that garden, and I ate a lot from that garden, but he didn't even notice I was taking anything ever. You know what I mean?
That's a healthy, productive garden. That's what you want, right? You want to be able
Yeah.
to just constantly have a cycle of food coming out of there. And, another way to do that is when you're planning your crops for the season, let's say you're going to do different kinds of peppers and onions and tomatoes, you can plan so that you have an early variety, a medium or a mid sort of variety where it's ripening in the middle of the summer, and then you can still have another variety that ripens in the fall. So that way you can just carry your production right through the whole season, and then you can do your spring based crops, right, like your brassicas, and then you can do your heat loving crops in the summer, and then back in the fall you can just switch. You can succession plant right into your fall, your cool weather crops all over again, and you can do your spinaches and your radish and your lettuces and
Kales and
all that good stuff all over again. Because some people, they want to fight what Mother Nature throws at them in their garden, and it's not going to work. If you get 35 degrees Celsius, I'm not even sure what that is, like 100 Fahrenheit or whatever for you guys. If you try to plant lettuce in that temperature, your lettuce is going to be like, yeah, that ain't happening.
right,
Grow at 100
right,
degrees, right? So
right,
you gotta let you Mother Nature is going to dictate to you what you can and can't grow in certain seasons. There's workarounds for it. You can put shade cloth on things to, if your plants are getting baked, you can put shade cloth across them, especially if you're in a greenhouse or in an environment where you can put posts up and string cloth around, or you can grow them in low tunnels or high tunnels to
that's what I'm
mitigate
gonna
the
have to
sun.
do this summer where I've got my stuff at is put up some shade cloths. So
Yeah, it's worth it, you know.
but I would just say I'll throw this out there for kind of advice. If this is going to be the first year you're growing stuff,
Yeah,
don't get too big on it. I wouldn't go
don't.
too huge because you got to learn. You got to crawl before you walk.
Right.
So don't go planting 2 acres of stuff and you have no idea really what you're doing. Like start small. Try to grow some stuff that you'll eat.
That's
I
right.
mean, go
Grow
for
what
it.
you're eating. Don't. Yeah, if you're just starting out, don't grow. I know you're going to look through your seed catalog and you're like, you probably do it. You're like,
Yeah.
I want that and I want that and I want that. And I want to grow that and I got to grow that and I don't have the space,
Yes.
but I could buy pots and I could grow that in pots and then you get all these seed packs and you're like, there's no way in hell I can grow this. But
Nope.
so if you're guys, my advice, especially to beginner growers, grow basics, grow stuff you will eat, and learn the processes of growing food, how to water properly. Know that the bigger your garden, the more weeds you will have to contend with. And if you don't address your weeds and those weeds pollinate and they go to flower, you've literally just set like a time bomb of nuclear crap all over your garden for those weed seeds. Stay on your weeding. That is super important. Your weeds, like crabgrass and stuff, will choke your plants out.
And
You
that's
don't
like the
want that.
worst part of it. I mean,
Yeah.
for us, especially for me, I got a bad back and stuff, and I gotta bend over and get all those weeds
That's
out.
because
It's
you're
like,
old, man. That's because you're old.
yeah,
So somebody told me something good about pulling weeds up. They said they always went out there and it was a stress relief because they'd go out there and they would think they're grabbing somebody by the head and popping it off because of, the way that root looks or whatever when you pull it up. So you go
Yep.
out there and relieve some stress pulling them weeds up.
yeah, it's
I
like a
have done
squeeze
that.
ball,
Yep.
like a
Done
squeeze
that after
ball
a
to
long
release
day of
stress.
work.
You just snatch.
Not it that way.
Yep. Yeah, done that
Yeah,
after a long day of work. Go out into the garden with a cold beer, and I'm just like, I'm weeding today because I'm mad and I hate these weeds. It's
yeah,
time.
yeah. And don't get lazy. Don't
No.
sit there and think, oh, I'll just do it next week, because those little bit of weeds will turn into a whole shit ton of weeds if you don't take care of that shit.
That's right. Yep. And especially if it's something that's like a rhizome based plant. If you find something that's rhizome based, go after that thing. Beat it like it owes you money. Because if you allow the roots from something like that to take hold, I have oregano growing in my garden now that will be here after the next ice age. I cannot get rid of it. I've literally burned it with fire. Um, right. So
Damn.
be careful what you plant, because especially things like mint or oregano, plant that thing in a place where you're either just going to accept the fact that it'll be there for eternity, or put it in a pot where the roots can't get out of the bottom of the pot and contact soil. Because if those things hit the soil, you're done. Game over. Yeah.
Right. It's so much involved, man. And also because some plants grow well with others. Some plants are buddies with other plants. So you want to do some research on that too, right? Like,
It's
you
true.
might, some plants won't grow good if they're beside this plant, or some
Yep.
plants will
That's right.
grow better if they're beside this buddy plant. You know what I mean?
Right.
Three sisters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Three Sisters is a good one.
What
I
is that? What's the three sisters?
It's beans and corn and squash.
They
Yeah.
grow good together?
Well, you get the corn that gives the shade. You got the beans, it's a medium height that kind of takes care of about ground level. And then the squash runs all across the ground to choke out any weeds and things like that as well.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the beans grow up the corn stalks. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Yeah.
That's
I also
awesome.
plant a lot of herbs in your garden, the smelly herbs like basils and oreganos and stuff like that. If you plant those around your garden, it'll also deter your insects, because the insects are looking for like a pheromone type of thing coming out of your plants, right? Especially if your plants are stressed, the insects are looking for that. So if you plant lots of herbs, and I don't do this, I suggest to people to do it, but I don't. Plant marigolds. Put them in pots in little containers and crap. I don't plant them because I can't stand the smell of them. It's one of those smells for me that I'm just like, bleh. But
Right.
marigolds smell so strong that insects can't really pick up the plants on your radar. And plant onions with your carrots.
Onions with your carrots.
Yeah, because the smell from the onions deters the carrot fly from finding your onions. So you could even plant a row of carrots, and I've done this I've got a 25-foot by 8-foot one of my garden beds, and I've planted a row of carrots, like a square foot, like we talked about, of carrots, and then I planted my onions, and I plant those 4 inches apart on centers, so it'll just go a square foot of carrots, and then my onions and carrots and onions and carrots, and I get zero carrot fly issues. And the onions
Oh,
are happy
wow.
as clams because they grow together with the onions or with the carrots. Yeah, everything's happy.
That's such often. I mean, the info tonight, man. I hope anybody that's growing a garden, I sure hope they watch this. And I ain't talking about views or I'm just, this is great stuff, man. This is just great stuff. I
Like we talked
appreciate you,
about
man.
earlier tonight, it was like, we wanted to come on here tonight, guys, and just spread some knowledge. It's for a lot of people, except for people like Homestead Oz, because they're on the other side of the planet and they're going into fall now. But yeah, they've already burned through most of their season. But a lot of people are starting their gardens. People like me are starting their seeds. People southern in Florida and stuff like that. I'm guessing it's probably warm enough there that they can probably have stuff in the ground. I don't know about a frost issue, but so we're going to be doing all kinds of stuff on my channel. Like I said, the adventure I'm starting is in about a month from now, and there is going to be tons of garden content. We are going to be starting out in pots because we're not sure where things are going to progress, but we're going to be doing all kinds. So I was actually going to do a full on, like, get your notepad out. I'm going to show you guys how to grow onion video. I was going to do it yesterday, and that thing came up today that we talked about earlier, Tribe. So that got in the way. But like, I've got 3 pages of notes sitting right in front of me just on how to do onions, because I wanted to get everybody the best information that you can get, even if you don't absorb it, or if some of it just doesn't matter. Like when I talk about pH of soil and stuff, that's okay. I want to get people to have the right information. So they're, like we talked about with the dehydrating, right? Soup to nuts, right? Get the information out so you have no surprises. You know where things are going to go, right?
Yeah, like if you're gonna dehydrate carrots, show me that you taking them carrots out of the ground. Like I'm gonna dehydrate these 10 carrots, and this is where I'm getting them from. Boom, right out the ground. What do? You wash them, you slice them up, you know everything. Yep. Prepper Nerd, thank you, sir. Thank you for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you. He said great live stream.
Thanks, Prepper Nerd. Thanks everybody for coming out tonight, guys. You know,
yeah, so much.
Really, I've had a great time. When I just asked the girlfriend here a couple of minutes ago what time it was, and she was like, "It's 11:38," and I was like,
"We've been rolling, brother. We've been rolling."
Right. So yeah, I've had a really good time. So thanks everybody for coming out. You know, I hope it's made a difference. In, you know, don't be afraid of gardening. Don't be afraid of getting your hands dirty. There's microbes in the soil that are antidepressant. It'll lift you up. Get your hands in the dirt. Don't wear gloves, you know, get your hands in there. If you don't know what you're doing, watch some videos. Luke at MI Gardener has growing videos for every plant you can imagine. He's a phenomenal resource, MI Gardener.
MI Gardener?
Yeah, if you want to grow, like,
got some seeds
you want to
him,
grow
actually.
strawberries. Yeah, like if you want to grow strawberries, he literally has a growing guide for strawberries. You know, peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, you name it. That is a place to go for some, if like, until I start getting videos out and you know, but if you want, my best resource for information would be his channel for growing guides.
Okay, I'm gonna take those 3 channels that you talked about. It was the Ice Age Farmer, it was Curtis Stone, the Urban Farmer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's MI Gardener. And we're going to figure out to get their links and put them in there. So if anybody wants to check those channels out, we'll put them in there. We'll put them in there with Greenthumbprepper, and we'll throw yours in there too, Heads or Tails. Right. And I just wanted to ask Heads or Tails real quick. Did you get my mail, man?
Yes, sir. That's what I was telling Nisi earlier. I got your mail today, Bubba.
Nice. You like my decals, man?
Oh yeah, really like the decals. Really like
cool, man, cool.
I gotta get you some new stickers coming your way, man. I got some new stuff in as well.
Sweet. Green Thumb, man, you gotta check out Heads or Tails, man. What I'm not gonna say that that's his only community, but like the community of people that he's mostly involved with, I guess you could say. I don't want to single it out like that, because you're involved with all kinds of communities, and all of us, you know, we're all together in this. But they deal with a lot of coins and silver and gold and platinum, and it's a really cool community, man. Like really good people, and they like, you know, they you know, send each other, you know, decals from their channels and stuff, and they do, you know, somebody will run into this, you know, silver dime that somebody else wanted, and they'll just, you know, they won't be trying to ask for money and stuff. They'll just be like, I found that dime you wanted, man, that you've been looking for. I got you. I'm sending it in the mail. Like, you know, it's just real good community, good people, not trying to rob people and get money and all that. They just deal with the stuff. Really cool people. You should check them out, man. Heads or Tails is a great dude. I know I'm pumping up your head, brother. But it's good. I like it when I know both of you guys are really good people, and it's really cool that y'all two got to meet tonight. That's really cool to me.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you, Heads or Tails.
Nice meeting you, Bubba.
Yeah, I'll check your channel, and I'll shoot you a message, and send you an email or something. We'll get in touch.
All right, bub. Yeah, it's right back
Awesome.
to you on that. I would love to see what you got going over there. I'm
Yeah,
definitely interested.
we're moving to a 200-year-old homestead in like 28 days. So it's things are it's going to be real interesting. Yeah.
That's super cool though, man. That's like your dream come true. It sounds like to me. You're gonna have plenty of space to do everything you want to do.
There's a
Yeah,
couple
that would
acres
definitely be
and a
nice.
pond, and there's already a flock of chickens and a flock of ducks there, and
Nice.
yeah.
All right, man. Well, I'm not trying to wrap it up. I can stay here for days, but I know you got things to do, and I don't want to. We got Native and Devout coming on in like a minute or two, so I don't want to run into them or anything. But I really appreciate you being on, Sean. I mean, Greenthumbprepper. Heads or tails, thanks for coming on and hanging out with us too. And y'all meet, man. It's just been a great night, man. I really love this stuff. I love it.
Thanks for having me on, man. We should do this again sometime.
Yes, anytime, man.
Yeah, we'll just come on, kick it, and talk about whatever we end up talking in, and spread some knowledge around. Have some fun while we're doing it. And
yeah, we can even talk about other stuff too. It ain't always got to be about gardening. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, because like I said, I've got tons of interests. So if you can pick one, we can probably find something to talk about.
Right.
You got to talk about the plants. You can always even talk about just the soil or compost or.
That's right.
There's all kinds of worlds when it comes to that area.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Food.
Start getting pretty deep on a lot of that stuff, and we might start watching the viewership start to go down over the cross of the video, but
we don't worry about them kind of things over here, man.
Right.
It's about community and learning and stuff like that, man. We if they want to watch, if they're interested, that's cool. If not, we'll catch you on the next one. Maybe you'll be interested in that. It's not no big deal.
Yep, damn right. Yep.
I had a great ass time, man. I appreciate y'all, and I appreciate everybody in the chat. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm sorry if I missed a bunch of questions. I was just so in tune to Greenthumbprepper and listening so much. I mean, I was zoned in, brother. But I appreciate everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out. We're gonna call it. Y'all can have the last word, man.
All right. If you guys are interested in following what's going to be happening on my adventure coming up real soon, if you want to subscribe to the channel, hit me up, and we'll see where this whole thing goes, because we're going to be doing all manner of stuff. So it's not just going to be gardening. There's going to be construction and building. We're putting in chicken tractors. We're doing all kinds of stuff, maybe rabbits in the short term. So, and then there's going to be prepping stuff on the side. I have a couple of videos just lined up just based on prepping topics too. So thanks guys for coming out. I had a really good time.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yes, please check out his channel because it's awesome. And he's an awesome dude. Like we've been hanging out for months and months, man. And we just have a good ass time, man. He knows how to troll. He knows how to pick on you but not make you feel bad. He knows how to it's just a good time, man. He's fun in the chat and fun on videos. You're just a fun dude, man. I really enjoy your company all the time. Thanks, you got anything you want to throw out there, heads or tails?
Not really, Bo. Just everybody needs to be checking you out every time. So
right. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. All right, we're gonna call it. I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. I appreciate everybody coming out tonight and hanging out with us. I really do. And we'll see you through the weekend and next week and everything. We're gonna keep it on going. But
you betcha the party doesn't stop.
Yes, indeed. All right, good night, everybody.
All right. Bye, guys.